the Mediterranean's best-kept secret nobody talks about. Walk through any square in Athens at sunset, and you'll notice something that stops travelers in their tracks. It's not just the golden light hitting ancient marble columns. It's the effortless elegance of Greek women passing by, moving with a natural confidence that seems woven into the fabric of this land. There's something magnetic about the way beauty, intelligence, and strength combine here. Something that makes you wonder why nobody prepared you for this part of Greece. But we're getting ahead of ourselves, because what you're about to discover goes far beyond first impressions. Where east embraces west, on Europe's southern edge, Greece occupies one of the most strategic positions on the planet. Sitting at the southeastern tip of Europe, this country serves as a bridge between three continents. To the north, it shares borders with Albania, North Macedonia, and Bulgaria. Turkey guards its eastern frontier, creating a fascinating blend where European and Asian influences collide. But here's what makes Greece truly special. It's not just a mainland country. Over 6,000 islands scatter across the Aegean and Ionian seas, though only about 200 are inhabited. This creates a geography so diverse that you could spend years exploring and still find hidden coves, secret villages, and beaches that feel like your own private paradise. The mainland stretches across roughly 50,000 square miles, but when you add the islands, you're looking at a coastline that ranks 10th longest in the entire world. Imagine that. More shoreline than countries 10 times its size. Mountains that touch the sky and seas that stir the soul. Most people picture Greece as beaches and whitewashed buildings. They're missing 80% of the story. This country is predominantly mountainous, with peaks that challenge even experienced climbers. Mount Olympus rises over 9,000 feet, and ancient Greeks believed their gods literally lived at its summit. Can you blame them? When you stand at the base, looking up at clouds wrapping around those peaks, mythology suddenly makes perfect sense. But here's where it gets interesting. Within an hour's drive from these dramatic mountains, you can be swimming in crystal clear waters, so blue they seem photoshopped. The Ionian Sea laps the western coast with gentle waves and emerald tones. The Aegean Sea to the east delivers that iconic deep blue that appears on every postcard. And down south, the Mediterranean completes this liquid embrace. This combination of dramatic elevation changes and endless coastline creates microclimates that shift dramatically. You might need a jacket in the mountains during summer, while people at sea level are applying sunscreen. This diversity shapes everything from the food to the culture to, yes, the people themselves. Islands that deserve their own documentaries. Let's talk about Santorini for a moment, but not in the way everyone else does. Yes, the sunsets are legendary. Yes, the white buildings with blue domes create that iconic Greek island aesthetic. But there's something people don't mention enough. Santorini is actually the remnant of a massive volcanic eruption that happened over 3,000 years ago. You're literally walking on the edge of a volcanic caldera. The black sand beaches exist because of volcanic activity. The dramatic cliffs dropping into impossibly blue water formed from one of the largest eruptions in human history. Some scholars believe this eruption inspired the legend of Atlantis. Now you're not just looking at a pretty island. You're standing on ground zero of an ancient catastrophe that might have spawned humanity's most enduring mystery. Moving to Crete, you encounter Greece's largest island, and something of a country within a country. Crete has its own distinct identity, its own dialect, its own traditions that sometimes differ noticeably from mainland Greece. The Minoans built Europe's first advanced civilization here, complete with indoor plumbing and multi-story palaces, while much of Europe was still living in basic settlements. Walk through the Palace of Knossos, and you'll see 4,000-year-old frescoes depicting sophisticated court life, religious ceremonies, and yes, beautiful women adorned in elaborate fashions that wouldn't look completely out of place today. Then there's Mykonos, famous for nightlife that rivals the best party destinations. But here's what makes it special beyond the parties. Those iconic windmills lining the coast weren't built for tourists. They were essential economic engines that ground wheat for centuries. Little Venice, where buildings sit right at the water's edge, developed because sea captains and merchants wanted quick access to their ships. Every charming detail has a practical origin story. Ancient stones that still whisper secrets. The Acropolis dominates Athens from its rocky perch, visible from almost everywhere in the city. The Parthenon stands at its summit, and despite centuries of wars, earthquakes, explosions, and even pollution, it endures. Built in the 5th century BCE, this temple to Athena represents the pinnacle of classical Greek architecture. But here's something that surprises visitors. It's not perfect. In fact, it's deliberately imperfect. The columns bulge slightly in the middle and tilt inward. The platform curves upward at the center. These optical refinements compensate for how human eyes perceive large structures, creating an illusion of perfect straight lines. Ancient Greek architects understood visual psychology at a level that still impresses modern designers. Standing beneath those columns, you feel small, but not in a bad way. You feel connected to something that transcends your individual existence. Now imagine the women of ancient Athens walking these same paths, their education and intelligence shaping the philosophical discussions that founded Western thought. That combination of beauty and brains isn't new to Greece. It's been here for millennia. Delphi and the voice of the gods. A few hours from Athens, the sanctuary of Delphi clings to the slopes of Mount Parnassus. Ancient Greeks considered this the center of the world. The Oracle of Delphi, always a woman chosen for her wisdom and connection to the divine, delivered prophecies that influenced wars, political decisions, and personal choices throughout the ancient Mediterranean. Kings and commoners alike made pilgrimages here. The oracle's pronouncements were famously ambiguous, requiring interpretation. When one king asked if he should attack his enemies, the oracle replied that if he did, a great empire would fall. He attacked. An empire did fall. His own. That's ancient Greek wisdom for you. Always layered, always deeper than it first appears. Walking through Delphi's ruins today, you can still feel the weight of all those desperate questions, all those hopes and fears poured out at the feet of a woman who channeled something beyond herself. The ancient theater, the stadium, the temple of Apollo, all sit against a backdrop of mountains and valleys, so beautiful it seems selected by divine mandate. Food that tells 1,000 stories. Greek cuisine deserves serious attention beyond the usual moussaka and souvlaki, though both are excellent. This is Mediterranean food at its purest, relying on olive oil, fresh vegetables, seafood pulled from the sea hours before it reaches your plate, and herbs that grow wild across hillsides. Greek olive oil isn't just an ingredient, it's a cultural cornerstone, with some olive trees producing fruit for over 1,000 years. Families harvest their own trees, press their own oil, and take fierce pride in its quality. Feta cheese, protected by law to only come from specific regions of Greece, appears in countless dishes. But here's where it gets really interesting. Greek dining is inherently social. Meals stretch for hours, with courses appearing slowly, conversation flowing as freely as the wine. This isn't fuel, it's an experience, a ritual that strengthens family bonds and friendships. In tavernas across Greece, you'll see groups of locals, often with stunning women among them, who command the conversation with sharp wit and strong opinions, lingering over meals that started at lunch and might not end until dinner time. The concept of keifi is central to Greek culture. roughly translated as high spirits, passion, enthusiasm, and joy. Kephi infuses everything from music to dancing to eating. When Greeks say someone has kephi, they mean that person brings energy and life to whatever they do. Traditions that refuse to die. Greek Easter surpasses Christmas in religious and cultural significance. The celebration involves fasting for weeks, then breaking that fast at midnight on Easter Sunday, with a feast that includes whole roasted lamb, special breads, and red-dyed eggs representing resurrection. In some villages, particularly on Crete, men fire guns into the air at midnight in wild celebration. Greek weddings are legendary productions that can involve hundreds of guests, last until dawn, and feature plate smashing, circle dancing, and enough food to feed a small army. The tradition of breaking plates during celebrations comes from ancient times, symbolizing the irreversible nature of the union and warding off evil spirits with loud crashes. And then there's the Greek coffee ritual. Thick, strong, unfiltered coffee served in small cups, often accompanied by a glass of cold water, and always by conversation. The grounds left at the bottom are sometimes used for fortune-telling. An older woman might offer to read your cup, turning it over to examine the patterns formed by coffee sediment, delivering insights that sometimes prove eerily accurate. The language that shaped the world. Greek is the oldest recorded living language in Europe, with written records spanning over 3,000 years. Countless English words trace their origins to Greek. Philosophy, democracy, mathematics, theater. Alphabet itself comes from the first two Greek letters, alpha and beta. When you learn even basic Greek phrases, you're not just being polite. You're connecting to a linguistic tradition that influenced virtually every European language and spawned scientific and technical vocabulary used worldwide. The Greek alphabet looks exotic to outsiders, adding to the country's mystique. Those letters carved into ancient stones spell out laws, poems, philosophical treatises, and love letters written millennia ago, but still readable today by any educated Greek. That's continuity. Modern Greeks take fierce pride in their language, and while many speak excellent English, especially in tourist areas, the effort to use Greek phrases earns immediate warmth and respect. Between ancient legends and seductive secrets. So we've journeyed from mountains to beaches, from ancient ruins to vibrant modern cities. But let's address what draws many visitors beyond the obvious attractions. Greek beauty isn't accidental. It's forged by a culture that values physical fitness, natural health, and taking time for personal care. Walk along any beach in Greece, and you'll understand immediately what sets this place apart. The combination of Mediterranean genetics, a diet rich in healthy fats and fresh foods, and a culture that celebrates rather than suppresses femininity, creates something genuinely special. Greek women often possess striking features, dark eyes that seem to see through superficial conversation, and a directness that can surprise foreigners used to more reserved cultures. They're raised in a society that values strong family bonds, but also encourages education and independence. It's not uncommon to meet Greek women who speak 3 or 4 languages, hold advanced degrees, yet also embrace traditional femininity without apology. There's no contradiction in their minds between being intellectual and sensual, between being career-oriented and family-focused. This integration creates a magnetic presence that's hard to define, but impossible to ignore. The beaches themselves deserve mention as settings for these encounters. Navaggio Beach on Zakynthos, accessible only by boat, features a shipwreck on white sand, surrounded by towering cliffs and turquoise water. Elaphonissi in Crete offers pink sand, created by crushed shells, mixing with white sand. with water so clear you can see every pebble 20 feet down. Myrtos Beach in Kefalonia stretches out with white pebbles and dramatic mountain backdrops. These aren't just beautiful locations. They're stages where life unfolds in the most visually stunning ways possible. Cities that never stop moving. Athens pulses with energy that borders on chaotic. Over 3 million people crowd into the greater metropolitan area, creating traffic that tests patience and a street life that never truly sleeps. Ancient ruins sit beside modern buildings, sometimes literally sharing walls. You might sip coffee in a cafe with a view of 2,000-year-old temples, then turn the corner to find cutting-edge street art covering entire buildings. The Plaka neighborhood, sitting in the shadow of the Acropolis, maintains an old-world charm, with narrow streets too small for cars, shops selling everything from tourist trinkets to genuine antiques, and restaurants where locals still outnumber visitors. At night, the Siri district comes alive with bars and clubs where Greek music, both traditional and modern, spills into the streets. Thessaloniki in northern Greece offers a different energy. Greece's second city feels more European in some ways, with wide boulevards, elegant architecture, and a waterfront promenade perfect for the evening volta, the traditional stroll where people see and are seen. The city has a significant student population, keeping it young and progressive, with a cafe culture that surpasses even Athens. Mountain villages time forgot. Not all of Greece happens at sea level. Stone villages scattered across mountains in northwestern Greece seem frozen in time. Connected by ancient stone bridges arching over rushing rivers, these settlements preserve traditional architecture and ways of life that have nearly disappeared elsewhere. Hiking through some of the world's deepest canyons takes you through landscapes that shift from alpine meadows to dramatic rock faces to forests so dense they block the sun. The Meteora monasteries, built atop impossible rock pillars, rank among the world's most spectacular religious sites. Monks constructed these monasteries starting in the 14th century, hauling materials up sheer cliffs using nets and ropes. 6 monasteries remain active today, maintaining traditions and Byzantine art that provide windows into medieval spirituality. The rocks themselves formed millions of years ago, then uplifted and eroded into the surreal towers that now hold these sacred spaces. Mount Pelion, rising between the Aegean Sea and a major gulf, combines mountain villages with beach access. According to mythology, centaurs lived in these forests. The villages here maintain distinct architecture, with slate roofs and elaborate stone construction. Old mansions built by wealthy merchants create streetscapes that feel more Balkan than Mediterranean. Why the world can't stop talking about Greece? Greece punches far above its weight in global influence and tourist appeal. With a population of only about 10.5 million, it welcomes over 30 million tourists annually. That's nearly 3 visitors for every resident, making tourism a massive economic engine. Yet Greece maintains its allure across Europe and beyond. Europeans flock here for beach holidays. Americans visit to connect with the ancient roots of Western civilization. The combination of affordability compared to Western Europe, incredible weather from May through October, diverse attractions, and yes, the warm hospitality and beautiful people, creates a package few destinations can match. A decent meal with wine might cost between $15 to $25 or euros, far less than comparable quality in major cities elsewhere. Hotel options range from budget studios at $40 a night to luxury resorts at $400 or more, meaning every budget finds accommodation. Nights that blur into mornings. Greek nightlife deserves its own category. Clubs in Athens and island resorts don't get started until midnight and run until sunrise or beyond. There's something liberating about a culture where nobody judges you for ordering dinner at 11 p.m. or hitting the beach at dawn after dancing all night. Bouzoukia, nightclubs featuring live Greek music, offer experiences you won't find elsewhere. Popular singers perform, while patrons express appreciation by purchasing expensive bottles, then smashing them on the floor or showering the stage with flowers. Beach clubs on islands like Mykonos rival anywhere for sheer excitement. World-class DJs spin sets, while beautiful people from across the globe dance in the sand, often starting in the afternoon and continuing into the next day. In smaller villages, nightlife takes different forms. Traditional tavernas host live music, where locals and visitors link arms and dance traditional circle dances. There's something deeply human about these moments, where cultural and language barriers dissolve in shared rhythm and joy. Your turn to share and explore more. Now we want to hear from you. Drop a comment telling us what city or country you're watching from right now. What caught your attention most in this journey through Greece? Have you visited? Is Greece calling your name? We read every single comment and love connecting with viewers from around the world. If this video gave you value, sparked your imagination, or made you want to book a flight to Greece, show some love by clicking that hype button and smashing the like button. It's completely free, takes 2 seconds, and helps this channel grow, so we can keep bringing you incredible content about the world's most fascinating destinations. Seriously, your support means everything and allows us to continue creating these deep dives into countries that deserve your attention. Finally, don't go anywhere yet. We've got carefully selected videos appearing on your screen right now that will take you on more incredible journeys to destinations you never knew you needed to visit. Click on one of those suggested videos to discover new countries, hidden secrets, and fascinating curiosities that will expand your world. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next adventure.